What's going on, guys? My name's Theoatrix, and today I'm bringing Old School RuneScape Tips and Tricks Episode 2. If you don't know what that is, this is a series where I reveal 10 very useful things that will really help you in-game and hopefully make your quality of life in Old School a lot better. On a side note, today's clip of the day at the end of this video is really messed up, so if you can, stick around to the end because you will be amazed. Getting right into today's episode, the first thing on my list is that you should be using Cannonballs on your cannon instead of clicking on your cannon to reload it. Doing this saves game ticks, and as soon as you use the Cannonballs on the cannon, you can instantly start attacking again. Whereas if you simply just click fire on the cannon to reload it, it uses a game tick where you can't do anything else and it delays your next attack. Next up, if you buy a volcanic or a frozen whip mix from the Grand Exchange and you use it on your abyssal whip, it not only recolors the whip, but it also becomes an untradeable, which means that if you die while you're out bossing or doing Slayer or something like that, you actually keep it and it doesn't count towards one of the 3 items that you keep on death. So when you die, you'll keep those 3 items plus your whip no matter what, but this does not happen in PvP. If you die with a recolored whip in PvP, it loses its color and an abyssal whip is dropped. The third tip that I have for you guys is you can actually use your avas accumulator and use it on Lanthus, the guy in the Castle Wars lobby, and then once you go into the mini game, since you're given a hood and a cape actually acts as an avas accumulator while you're in there, so you can get your ammo as you shoot it, even without wearing an avas, only in Castle Wars. That's a pretty awesome tip if you're really into Castle Wars, but not many people play it these days, but I really found this one kind of interesting. Whenever you're not wearing the full graceful set, so if you don't have full graceful, it's actually a lot better to use things like the Spottier cape or the boots of lightness because they actually give you a lower weight bonus than the other graceful alternatives. The next tip that I have for you guys is that you should be suiciding in bosses where you think you'll need more food than you already have. Keep in mind this won't work at things like God Wars because you need to get kill count to go in and things like that, but since the timer for items on the ground when you die is 60 minutes, you're able to go into a boss with a full inventory of food and then purposely die, and your whole invent will drop on the ground, and with that you can go kill the boss with a fresh invent and all your gear, and then once you're killing it, you can pick up that food off the ground and stay lots longer than you normally would. This method is specifically really good at the King Black Dragon and also at the Corporal Beast. One, because the King Black Dragon, you have to run through the wilderness to get there each inventory, so if you go there with no items except for food, and you drop that a few times in the room, and then you go once with all your items into the room, it means you can stay there like 4 times as long, but you only need to risk your items once as you go in there, only once with a normal setup. With the Corporal Beast, it's really good because you can literally teleport straight there with a games necklace and keep doing that. And since when you leave the Corporal Beast cave that it resets its health, this really helps and really negates that possibility of running out of food and having to teleport out and restart the kill. Now this one's a pretty cool one. If you want to cancel a Jad Slayer task, only a Jad task, not a Tsar task, you can walk into the fight caves and then just simply exit the fight cave and your task will be cancelled. This doesn't use any Slayer points at all, so it's a free way to skip a task. So if you get a Jad task and you don't want to do it, never skip it. Always just go in the cave and go straight out. The next tip is one that I find really easy to maneuver, especially when I'm on the Conduit client. I think OS Buddy does it as well. But every minute there is a stat drain tick, which basically means that any boosted stats will go down by 1 level every single minute. And on the clients, it actually shows that game counter. And with that, you should always wait to repot when your stat drops and there's a full minute left. This makes the most out of that sip of potion and really prolongs the effect of the potion. Now the next few tips are kind of quality of life tips. The first one is that you can press the scroll wheel on your mouse and then move it around the screen, and it acts as the arrow keys, so it moves the camera around. Now the next tip is if you press control, hold it down and then click somewhere, you run there no matter what. So if you have your run energy off and you control click, it runs you there even when your run's off, but only if you have run left. This is specifically useful in the Inferno when you have to follow behind that floating rock. It helps you time how fast you need to go. But yeah, that's a pretty interesting one. And the last shortcut key is the tab button, and that replies to your most recent private message, provided that you have the person added. The second last tip of today is that you should be using bank fillers to make the structure of your bank a lot nicer and easier for skilling. With bank fillers, it basically fills up your bank with these red crosses, and it allows you to move items to where you wouldn't normally be able to put them, to make it really easy to do things like skilling. The last tip is that there's a lot of new right-click options in old school RuneScape. Firstly, you can right-click the NPC contact spell, and then underneath there, it tells you the most recent person you contacted, and you can click that without having to go into the interface and find the person. It saves a lot of time. The next right-click option I'm going to talk about is the player-owned house portal. You can right-click it and you can choose home, building mode, friends, and that makes it a lot easier for when you're training construction or just doing up your house. If you set your spawn point to outside your house, you teleport to your house, and then all you have to do is right-click and go to building mode, and that actually saves time. Instead of teleporting in your house and then turning on building mode, you actually save quite a few seconds by doing that. And the last one is you can right-click fairy rings to go to your previous location, and that comes in handy if you're doing things like the Abyssal Sire. You can constantly go back to the Abyssal Realm without having to look for it in the list or having to put in the code every single time you use the fairy ring. Anyways, guys, that's the 10 tips for today's tips and tricks video. Now it's time for clip of the day, and today's clip is from Dark Soldy 444, who got incredibly lucky on his first Master Treasure Trail or Clue Scroll, and he got the Bloodhound pet on his first ever Master Clue Scroll. That's the first time I've ever seen something that lucky before. The Bloodhound is dropped from Master Clues at a rate of 1 in 1,000, so to get it on your first Master Clue is so lucky. I know there's so many players out there that farm Master Clues just to get the Bloodhound, and this guy managed to get it on his first one ever. Apart from the new pet from the Inferno, the Bloodhound is actually the rarest pet you can get in old school RuneScape. The least number of players have it. So this is awesome for you to get, man. Congratulations. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching today's video. If you did enjoy it, make sure you leave a like on the video. Let me know any suggestions you have in the comments. Subscribe if you're new. And as always, thanks for watching and have a nice day.